please welcome this year's opening VBK speaker, Dave Urso.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon.
How y'all doing?
Right.
You excited to be here?
Yeah.
You ready to be candid? Maybe? Not so much. That was not convinced in any way. I don't think you were sold at all. You're still thinking about all those accolades from the introduction, right? That's good. We want to know what that power is. Well, I'm excited to be here. I was talking to my son this morning about the speech. He said, "Dad, you going to start with a joke?" I said, "I don't have a joke prepared at the beginning." He said, "You got to tell a joke. So should we do a joke?" Yeah. All right. Knock, knock. Who's there? Tank. You're welcome. Okay, thank you all so much for your time. No, I'm just kidding. I just wanted to make sure you guys were tank who? Tank, no. All right, it didn't work that much. I'm so excited to be with you all this afternoon. Are you glad to be here? Yeah. Are you ready to learn something? Yeah. Do you know I'm going to make you stand up multiple times in our 3 hours together? So if you have things on your lap, you can start now by finding other spots to put them as we try to make this a meaningful time that we can share together. But you are about to hear from a nationally renowned author who's going to change the way we think about our organizations, our leadership, and the lives we lead. It's going to be phenomenal, and we're going to be better as a result of having been here today. My job is to grease the wheels a little bit, which is really easy when there's such amazing talent coming right behind me. Today, I'm going to give you 3 challenges that I hope you can implement as a result of spending the time with us today. The first is about understanding that it starts with yourself. The second is finding the courage to actually implement what you're challenged to do. And the third is committing to do one thing differently. And that's the path I want to walk you down. The first challenge that I told you about is realizing it starts with yourself. For a lot of us, we do not realize we cannot be someone else's hero until we slay our own dragons. A lot of leadership is about reflecting on our own experiences first. What do we do well? What do we struggle with? How are we trying to change our community and the spot we're in? That involves vulnerability. That involves being willing to have a reflective look at our own personality, our own experiences, and push ourselves to look differently. A major research institution recently did a study in which they looked at mid and senior level management across America and found that 94% of these individuals engaged in little to no personal reflection on an annual basis. That study doesn't exist. I made it up for the purpose of making a point this afternoon when I'm with you. But it sounded convincing, didn't it? Because we realize we don't do it. It's not natural to go hike up Old Rag and think about, am I leading the right way? Am I parenting the right way? Am I changing lives as I intend to? But having vulnerability is what puts us in the ability to actually make that implementable difference in the lives of those we touch on a regular basis. I don't know how you go after that, but for me, it's all about the mentorships I pursue. The people I let closest to me, who I ask to challenge me and push me to think about the world in new and different ways. The truth about real mentorship is it's not a venting person who simply endorses everything you're already thinking, but challenges how you think. How are you exposing yourself to people who will fundamentally say, I hear what you're saying, but have you considered a different path? Have you pushed a different button? Have you done this in the past and asked for a different result, then it's try to go a different way? We have to surround ourselves by people who intentionally push us to be different, greater, and better. And we can't ask that of someone else until we've done it for ourselves. So the first of the 3 is to challenge you to realize it starts with yourself. Find that mentor in your life. Pursue that mentor. Formalize the relationship. Say, can you be someone I can count on a regular basis to make sure I'm doing everything I can, contributing in every way that I can? The second step is about finding the courage, and finding that courage isn't always easy. Our culture is so special in the Shenandoah Valley because we take care to make sure we're uplifting one another, protecting one another, and even when we have things like bless his heart, which it took me way too long of living into the valley to realize wasn't actually a compliment, we don't come at each other very well, and I want to prove the point. I'll ask you to stand up in your seat for just a second. Not in your seat, like in front of your seat, like stand in front of your seat. All right, and I'd like you to look to the person to your left and give them a high five. All right, if there was no one to your left, you can ad-lib a little bit. I trust you, Shenandoah Valley, that you can get this right. I want you to turn to the person to your right, give them a handshake. All right, I want you to turn back to the person to your left and give them a compliment. Tell them you like their eyes. Tell them that's a pretty blouse. Tell them something nice about them. All right. Now I want you to turn back to the person to your right, and I want you to give them constructive criticism in some capacity. Your hair is messed up. Your glasses don't look... All right, just stop. Just stop. Just no more. All right, I'm confused. You're welcome to sit down if you want. But I feel like I gave you a great sequence of events, right? High fives and handshakes are good. Compliments are nice. Then I asked you simply to help someone develop as a better human being. And everybody like, oh no. Except some people who were sitting next to a significant other, like, I have been waiting for this opportunity. I hope we did not cause irreparable damage in some relationships as a result of our time together today. But it takes courage sometimes to have that candid moment with someone else. Sometimes to look at them and go, here's the deal. I have a vision for our organization. I have a vision for my team. And where you are now is not helping us get closer to that vision. So I need more from you. I need you to understand and be a part of that. When I was a young manager, I struggled with that a lot because I couldn't separate the fact of needing the courage to have that difficult conversation from the emotional base that drove it. And I found myself in trouble in a lot of times because I would be losing sleep for nights before I had to do that. I would find myself crying in a car after I had a difficult conversation with someone. There's a leader I still respect now who says every time he has a difficult conversation, he has to go vomit before he can have that conversation. And I don't talk about vomit in my only VBK opportunity to be with you all for any reason other than to say we try to numb ourselves to that emotion. And I'm here to beg you, rather than numb yourself, realize that that emotion is actually the thing that's going to help you have that candid moment more than anything else. Emotion is what makes us be humans who connect with other humans. And when we separate emotion from our interaction, we give ourselves permission not to be human. We give ourselves permission not to look at the other person we're talking to as another person who has all the same features we do, all the same external forces we do, but look at them as simply a role player. We are at a time where it's so easy to get an ego boost. I know right now I could post a selfie on Instagram and get somewhere between 10 and 12 likes. That makes me feel good about myself. I also know I could post a picture of my 5-year-old daughter on Belle on Instagram and get somewhere between 100 and 150 likes. I have come to terms with this. My therapist has told me it's because she's shorter and the camera reflects better off her cheeks. I'm sold. I haven't looked at the science, but it makes sense. It takes courage, but we have to do it anyway. That's what it's about, is doing it anyway. That's the third challenge, guys, that I hope you will take back to your organizations with you. I love this community. I've been in this community a long time, but I see a future for this community where we're a little bit better than we are today. And that starts by doing something different. If you're like me, you're going to have a really good day today. You're going to take notes. You're going to go home. You're going to talk about what you heard about today. You're going to go to work tomorrow. The notes are going to go top of your desk. Then next week, 3 projects are going to come in. It's going to drop a little lower on the pile. Then the next week, more projects will come in and it'll drop until eventually it'll get filed because you say, I'll go back and pull the file. And 6 months from now, we shred it and we lost the momentum. We want to try to do one thing different. It's not because we don't get it, it's because we don't see. Stand up for me one more time. This one's really easy and doesn't end up with insulting anyone, I promise. What I want you to do is take your left hand. Anybody not know which is your left? All right. And I want you to reach as high as you can. All right, when I say 3, I want you to reach a little bit higher, okay? 1, 2, 3. Now, I can tell you from my perspective, nearly every hand in the room went higher when I asked you to reach higher. Sit down, I'll explain to you what just happened. I asked you, as one community member to another, to reach as high as you can. You gave me a good faith effort, but unintentionally, we hold a little back. We keep a little back because we're not sure what the cost is going to be. We're not sure what happens if we go all in. We're not sure what the ripple would be. When you go back to your organization, go all in. Find the project you've been delaying. If you don't know the thing you need to pull the trigger on, then ask yourself some simple questions. Ask yourself if you knew you were going to be walking away from your organization 6 months from now. What would be the several things you would make sure you got done before you left so the person who next stepped into your shoes was set up for success? That's your candid opportunity to have courage and make a change. If you don't think that way, ask yourself, what would the new me do within their first couple weeks of being here? Because that's the easy things to pull on and make a meaningful change to what happened. And if you're really courageous, ask yourself this. what would happen if we took the president of the Bank of the James and the principal of Harrisonburg High School and swapped them for a week? And told them at the end of that week to sit down and say, in only doing your job for a week, I found these opportunities to improve the way you serve clients or serve students. We're fortunate in this valley that we live in our bubble, but that bubble keeps us from challenging one another sometimes to find new heights. If we commit to these three things, doing the self-reflection that pushes us further, finding the courage to actually move forward on projects that have stalled and growth that is stunted, and doing one thing differently as a result of being here today, our community will grow alongside us. And much like you, that's a community I would love to live in, be in, raise my family in, and spend the rest of my days in. Thank you all so very much. Thank you.